all of the recent changes in Michigan's auto no-fault laws, one thing that often gets overlooked is the issue of lost income for those who have been injured in a car accident. How does that work? Well, for that, we're going to dive in with Tom Sinas from Sinas Jamos Law Firm to learn more about that. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Todd. Thanks for having me.
Obviously, when you're in a car crash and you've been injured, it could keep you from going to work, which means you're not going to get that income. Where do auto accident victims first turn to when they're looking for income after a car crash?
Well, they turn to our no-fault system. And as you pointed out, this is also the place where people go primarily for their medical expense coverage. And that's what I think most people know our no-fault system for. But another component of no-fault coverage is what's called work loss. Some people call it lost income, meaning there is a way for victims of auto accidents who either can't work or who are working less to have that income replaced by an insurance company without having to file a lawsuit against someone who caused the crash. Work loss benefits under our no-fault system are good for the first 3 years following the crash, meaning that if the victim cannot work during those 3 years, they turn to their auto no-fault insurer for that work loss wage replacement benefit. If, in fact, they cannot work beyond 3 years, they go elsewhere, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But work loss benefits are where people turn right away, and generally they turn to their own auto insurer. That is the most common rule for most victims. People are able to claim a benefit that is generally calculated at 85% of their pre-crash income. So how much income they earned before the crash, before taxes, 85% of that is payable to them, again, most commonly through their own no-fault insurance company. However, there is a monthly cap, and this applies to high income earners. The monthly cap is set every year and then changed every year. It resets in October of every year. So through October of this year, the monthly cap benefit cannot exceed $6,615 per 30 days. What that really translates to is that for those people who are making more than $93,000, $94,000 a year before the crash, for anyone who makes that amount or less, they're going to have their benefit covered up to the cap in full at that 85% amount. But for those people who were earning more than that amount of money before the crash, more than that $93,000 or $94,000 a year, then their income will not be fully replaced through no fault because they will be subject to the cap.
Now, you mentioned something that if it goes past 3 years, there are other options. So what about those who are disabled for that extended period of time?
Well, this is where the other part of our auto insurance system comes into play, and that is what we'll call the liability claim, or the claim against the person who caused the crash or who owned the vehicle or who employed the other driver. Under Michigan law, a victim is entitled to recover in a liability case what we sometimes call excess economic losses, meaning economic losses that are not paid by no fault. Well, by definition, you can only get work loss benefits through the no-fault system for the first 3 years. So if, heaven forbid, you're a victim who cannot return to work after 3 years, then the remainder of your lost income claim, going all the way through the time when you otherwise would have retired, is what you pursue in your liability claim against the person who caused the crash or other people who may have responsibility. So that's how that works for those folks who suffer such a serious injury that they can't return to work.
Am I clear in thinking that what you mentioned about under 3 years, you didn't have to file a claim, but if it's past 3 years, you do?
If it's under 3 years, you look to your own no-fault insurer.
Got it.
If you are going to experience wage loss beyond 3 years, then that claim falls in the liability claim. There's also one other concept here that's worth noting. Many people who cannot work for an extended period of time may be eligible for certain forms of governmental benefits. Most commonly people think of the Social Security disability program that you pay into as you work. Well, if you're in an auto accident, you may be entitled to receive some of those government benefits like Social Security disability, or maybe you're entitled to workers' compensation or something along those lines. How does that work? Well, your no-fault insurer, the one that's paying you during those first 3 years, they are entitled to reduce their obligation to you by whatever amount of benefits you receive through another form of governmental benefits. So to use an example, if somebody was collecting $5,000 in no-fault benefits, and then they were awarded Social Security disability in the amount of, say, $2,000 a month, well, they'd get the first $2,000 from Social Security, and they'd get the other $3,000 from no-fault, meaning the amount that they bring in would not change. It just comes from two different sources. And again, those concepts apply when we're talking about no-fault benefits for the first 3 years. Different, of course, for those people who are claiming lost wages after 3 years.
Well, if anyone is in that boat right now, I'm sure where their money's coming from is top of mind, obviously, with the medical bills piling up and everything else that happens in daily life. They can reach out to you. I know that you've probably got a bunch of information about this on your website.
Yeah, we do. And they can find that website at www.sinusdramus.com. They can give us a call the old-fashioned way at 616-301-3333, or they can give us an email at info@sinusdramus.com.